Today we're going to show you how to drive from London to the Alps in an electric car. So that's our main mission, but why stick around? Well, number one, we're going to show you the most beautiful hotspots in Les Alpes. And number two, we're going to tell you how easy it is to charge in France and, more importantly, where to charge on your road trip. Number three, we're going to tell you how to do a ski holiday without costing the earth. Number four, we're going to show you what it's like to be a beginner on a ski holiday. Good luck, Cameraman Cal. Cameraman Cal, are you feeling confident? And numero five, we're going to try and use our French skills to convince the locals to make the switch to an electric vehicle. That's going to be tricky. But leasing a car with Select is easy. Stay tuned to find out more. It all started after an encounter with barstool warrior Jason. Let's call him Jason because that's his real name. He said that electric cars are rubbish because he couldn't do his annual road trip to Cornwall without having to charge. I said, hold my beer. We got on the bat phone to our friends at Select Car Leasing to see if they would support our trip to Cornwall. They scoffed at our lack of ambition and decided to set us a real challenge. The Alps in winter with French farmers revolting. Ooh la la. We knew we'd need a noble steed with excellent range, space and fast charging. Our friends at Polestar had just the car. The all-new Polestar 2 long-range rear-wheel drive spec. And what a treat for Cameraman Lewis, who had never driven an EV before, to take the first stint from London to Calais. Would you swap your Citroen C3 for the Polestar?
Yes. Silly question.
How are you enjoying the one pedal driving?
It's great. I've taken it like a dove to water, is the saying. Duck to water.
That's the dove to water. Exactly the same. Yes.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Why was driving the obvious choice? Well, could have taken the train, but we had a lot of camera gear, lots of skis and boots to lug around, and it just made sense to chuck them all in the back of the car. Plus, any excuse to jump in a car, have an adventure, we're going to take it. With all that in mind, we set the sat-nav for a place called Annecy, which is the foot of the Alps, and everyone had recommended this place because it is beautiful. And it being so close to our final destination, we decided to utilise the fact that we were driving and see another corner of the world on the way. Just to explain how one pedal driving works, if you take your foot off the accelerator, the car brakes for you and recuperates energy back into the battery, so also better for your range.
Yeah, obviously one pedal driving is great around town when you're stopping and starting constantly. It's putting energy back into the battery, it's easier to drive. When you're on the motorway, however, you don't want to lose that momentum, so it's probably best to turn it off. That's my top tip.
Okay, turning it off as we speak.
Oh no, it is off.
I've just turned it
off. Oh
right. Getting way
and you're really close to that car. Let's give that tanker a few more feet distance, shall we?
Turn it back on.
And through the tunnel we went, eager to make up some ground early on. On the outward journey, we had one tactic, slow and steady, and staying under 70 miles an hour, as that is the speed at which air resistance really begins to kick in. And in theory, we'd only need one charge between London and Annecy, in theory. Okay, we've been driving since about 9 AM. It's now nearly 3 PM France time. We're starting to think about our first charge. Callum, what's our strategy?
So I think we're going to drive down to Reims, and that is 80 miles, which is 130 kilometres. So what have we got in the tank?
Well, 100 miles of range. That means we should get there with 20 miles left in the battery. Not long after Calais, it was Cameraman Cals' chance to get behind the wheel.
Hang on.
Back.
No idea what I'm doing. Can we just comment? It's my first time driving in a foreign country, and I'm absolutely terrified.
Better watch out for those cars. Okay, Callum's been driving the car for about 7 seconds. First impressions?
Best thing I've ever driven. I mean, already I'm comfortable. You know, I'm quite snug in this little cockpit. It's quite like about Polestars. Steering wheel's comfy. I'm cruising. I know I've got the power there if I need it. Yeah, it's lovely. But I've driven this before. It was very short-lived, wasn't it? So this will be a bit of a test over time, over some distance. God, look at them, quite majestic, aren't they?
There's so many wind turbines in France.
Am I allowed to go off here? I'm going to do it anyway. This is definitely the wrong way that I've just gone.
Yeah, definitely. Bonjour from Reims in France. We've made it all the way here from London without charging. This is our first charging stop of the trip, and we've been driving since 9 AM. It's now 4 PM. France time, so that gives you an idea of how far and how long you can drive in an electric car. We're getting a quick top up, and we've been here for about 10-15 minutes, and we've gone from 0 to 74% in absolutely no time. Now when you're charging, there are various different things you need up your sleeve, one of which is the power card. It makes charging and paying for charging faff free, and Neil from Power did tell us that the Ionity fast chargers work here in France. Thank you very much, Neil. Oh, and Polestar have lent us this Polestar charge card, which is very useful because whilst these chargers are blisteringly fast, they're also rather expensive. So 30% off is definitely a bonus because every little helps on the road to net zero. Soon enough, we were at 80%, which by our calculations should have been enough to get us all the way to Annecy. After I Spy and Would You Rather ran their course, we discovered that Cameraman Cals actually knew a bit of the local lingo, and that Select Car Leasing had challenged us to decipher some EV myths. So we put our GCSE French to the test.
Rick, do you speak any French?
Oui.
Alors, le premier est les voitures électriques à ce moment est trop cher.
It's too hot.
Non.
Too expensive.
Ouais.
Yes.
Is that true?
I'd say the new ones are quite expensive, but the prices are coming down as lots of electric cars come to the road. And there's also a brilliant second-hand market now because they've been around for 10-15 years or so.
I think the thing to add is as well, it's cost of ownership. Once you've bought it, it may be a bit more expensive, but the longer you own it, the more money you're going to save. Alors.
Alors? What does alors mean?
It's like well, so. Les gammes de les voitures électriques est trop petit.
The gamme of the electric car
Trop petit.
is too small. The boot?
Non. Ouais, c'est ça.
Très bien, Louis.
C'est vrai?
C'est vrai. I'm guessing, is that true?
Ouais.
I'm going to say no. And we're going to prove it by driving to the Alps.
But do you know what? When the car's full, it's actually the same range as my girlfriend's petrol car. Anyway, it's exactly the same range, yeah. I'm not going to say what car that is.
But it's a petrol car.
Yeah, it's a petrol car. Finalement, le troisième est les voitures électriques prennent feu tous les temps.
Prend feu.
Is it they take too long to charge?
Non, pas du tout.
Something all the time.
Ouais.
They break the speed limit all the time because of the instant torque.
Tous les jours,
Tous les jours, all the day.
je lis dans un journal
Yeah.
une voiture électrique.
Oh, you want to write journal diary. You want to write about them in your diary all the time because they're so good.
On conduit sur la route et à côté de la route, il y a une voiture électrique prend feu.
Je ne sais pas. Do we give up?
What I was saying was every day I turn on my television, I read a newspaper, and I see that an electric car.
Hang on. I know. An electric car has burst into flames.
Hey!
Yeah.
I said they catch fire all the time.
Fire, okay. Electric cars are far less likely to catch fire than a...
We've been through some studies, haven't we?
We know you might not take Cal's word for it, so let's hear from a really, really smart bloke instead.
EVs are between 20 and 60 times less likely to catch fire than a petrol car.
Do you speak French? Was Callum taking la piscine? The hours passed by, night fell, and naps were definitely had. But as we began to climb in altitude, we realised we may have miscalculated, and by some margin. Oh, we are so close to Annecy, and we thought that we timed it perfectly to roll in with about 10% of battery left. But as soon as you hit the mountain, as soon as you start going uphill, your battery just plummets. But Callum has used the special app and found us a 380 kilowatt charger. So that is really quick, and it will charge this car fully in about 25-30 minutes. So yeah, fingers crossed we make it to there. Welcome to Annecy, well, Lake Annecy to be precise. We rolled in here last night in the under the cover of darkness, and it was very dark, which meant we couldn't see anything. So when we opened the curtains this morning, it was simply breathtaking. Look at this place. So this is one of the cleanest and greenest towns in Europe, apparently, and I'm not surprised. The water is crystal clear. If it wasn't so blooming freezing, I'd definitely go for a swim in here. Lewis wanted to do a lake swim this morning, but forgot his trunks. How convenient. Lads, what do you think of this lake?
Average. Gorgeous. Feel very small. I've seen better puddles. Yeah, it's amazing. I've never been anywhere like this in my life.
What you need to know about Lake Annecy. It's the greenest in Europe. It's the second largest lake in France. It was formed just 18,000 years ago by melting alpine glaciers, which means that climate change could make it the biggest lake in France if we don't take action. Nicknamed both the Pearl of the French Alps and the Venice of the Alps. Famous for its idyllic old town, outdoor and water-based sporting activities and stunning mountain scenery. Founded by, you guessed it, the Romans. Here's the thing though. It aims to be carbon neutral by 2050 and already boasts various sustainability initiatives, including 15 kilometres of pedestrian zones, 45 kilometres of cycle paths, free buses to promote air quality during peak tourist season, and get this, they plan to plant 250,000 trees by 2050. Let's face it, places like this need to be protected. Definitely makes you feel very lucky to be alive and to appreciate what we've got on our own doorstep. We just need to keep it that way. Our plan was to drive straight through and get to Val-d'Isere, but we thought, well, why not stop? You know, if we're not flying and you're driving, let's see what there is to see in Europe. And this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, so I think it was a good decision. You could be surfing here on the lake in the morning, get in the car, and in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you're in Val-d'Isere snowboarding or skiing. What could be better than that? Yeah, we've driven a long way, but feeling very smug about ourselves because there have been 0 tailpipe emissions. Oh, it's cold and I've got a wet bottom, but totally worth it. It was a shame to leave Annecy because we didn't have as much time as I'd have liked, but we had to get up the mountain. The snow was calling. Look at this. Look at all that serenity. We're at the foothills of the Alps. We're in a place called Annecy and we're about to start climbing up the Alps to our final destination, which is our VIP chalet in Val-d'Isere. Woohoo!
I have to say, this is definitely the most beautiful place I've ever been.
Is it?
Yeah, I reckon.
That's a huge shout. Cameraman Cals.
And I've been to Hull.
to Hull and back. Having a bit of a sticky situation with our EV charging strategy the night before, we thought it might be wise to get some advice from the biggest experts in the biz. Jordan Brompton, she has come back with us with a brilliant tip. Geordie says, numero 1, plan your stops in advance, but she does go off plan if hungry, needs a wee, or if there's a charger free. Take charge whilst it's there, even if you don't necessarily need it. She keeps the car in eco mode or high efficiency mode and books hotels with a charger because it makes life so much easier. Taking this advice on board, we had 2 passengers in need of some roadside relief. We've just stopped to charge because it was saying that we had just enough to get there, but as soon as you start going uphill, we know that the battery's going to plummet, so we thought we'd stop, and we found, was it a 280 kilowatt charge? 225, so that's really fast. 225 meant that the car was charging mega quick, so we just left it on for about 15-20 minutes whilst Lewis went to try and find a toilet. So anyway, we're all bursting to get to the top of the mountain ASAP. Do you know what? As you're driving up the mountain, it is one of life's great pleasures, and I'd highly recommend it. If you've never been to the Alps before, check it out. The 2-hour drive flew by, and in high spirits we rolled into Val-d'Isere, our home for the next week. Okay, it's been an epic journey from London to the Alps. We've made it to Val-d'Isere. The snow is everywhere. People have got their snowboards and skis over their shoulders. But fear not, if this car doesn't float your boat, there are tons of great offers over on selectcarleasing.co.uk. And you can check out all of our electrifying reviews on YouTube. Val-d'Isere is no ordinary ski resort. Predating the Roman Empire, it is now one of the premier ski resorts in the world. It's previously provided a backdrop for Top Gear, Absolutely Fabulous, various video games, and a little thing called the Winter Olympics. The Val-d'Isere teen area is roughly the size of Liverpool, with Peace stretching an equivalent distance of London to Sheffield, and we were determined to ski them all. There's loads of people who I don't think ski, I think they just come here to shop and look like they can ski. See the turning circle of the Polestar 2? Awesome. We're right in the heart of the village. This couldn't be a much better location, really. So this is our VIP chalet from VIP Ski. It's called La Chouca. After a day and a bit on the road, we were keen to flop onto the sofa at our accommodation, which, by the way, wasn't your average apartment. VIP Ski had hooked us up with the ultimate ski experience, a luxury chalet equipped with our very own Evie, our host and very own personal chef, here to keep us happy, unhungry, and well-watered. The next day, it was time to get our boots on and undertake another challenge, teaching first-timer Callum to ski. I was conscious not to baffle him with too much technical jargon. Right, these Callum are skis, and they go on your boots. Your boots are specially made with these little rivets in there, so you can stick it in there first. So the key thing, I could tell he was eager to learn and hanging on my every word.
I'm not listening.
Kick it in there and then heel in. Not too tight. Coming off. Great. All right, we're going to do the 360 challenge. So we're just going to go around in a circle, just get your balance.
Right. Cool. Black slope.
I think we're ready to go up the mountain. Let's go. Yes! Callum navigated his first tree run like a mountain goat.
Whee! Quite enough speed there.
Out. There we go. We're on.
Is this a good time to say I'm scared of heights? What's going to happen at the end of the ski lift?
This ski lift, if anything could happen.
What's the procedure?
I think the key thing is just don't panic.
Okay. We've got a lot of don'ts. What do I do?
Ski off.
Avoid skiing into other people.
Cool.
Mystic Lewis was also confident.
Oh, I'm so falling over, by the way.
So you see that pole there, you see that Lewis there. We're going to go in between Lewis and the pole. Key thing here is to make sure you execute the turn. So you're going to put all of your weight on your left leg and we're going to pizza around the corner. As soon as you start to feel a bit out of control, that's when you need to make sure that you keep the weight on that left leg and finish your turn. And then that will point you back uphill. I'm going to show you twice to give you an idea. And then left leg, turn, and nice and simple.
Facile.
On a green run. What's he got? What's he got? It's good. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Keep it going.
Lovely. Guy's a blooming natural. It seemed Cal was picking it up all rather quickly. And while we had booked an afternoon ski lesson with Oxygen Ski, we bravely, some would say foolishly, decided to go it alone. And Cal let slip the fatal words that would surely seal his fate.
That was so fun. I don't want to sound like a knob. Slightly easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be really difficult. I'm sure I'm going to eat my words.
Spurred on by the hope that Cal had just completely jinxed himself, we embarked on our first ascent up the mountain and were rewarded with some of the most stunning views that the world has to offer. We recapped some of the basics he'd learned on the greens and sent him twisting and turning down the slightly steeper blue slope. However, as Cal's confidence grew, so did his fall rate, right on cue. Paul just said, "Is this the first time he skied?" And I was like, "Yep." Oh, too soon. Nearly. Just put your weight backwards for a In the end, we glided back down to the bottom without any major disasters and just enough dignity to call the day a success. When we returned to our VIP accommodation, we were greeted with a spread of freshly baked bread, cake, jam, tea and coffee. We kicked back for a few hours until dinner, which was a divine 3-course meal cooked by the lovely Evie. Thanks, Evie. Legend. To line our stomachs for an evening exploring the various bars Val-d'Isere had to offer. The rest of the week consisted of more of the same, ascending gondolas, ripping it down the slopes, and devouring all the food and drink we could find. However, with visibility low, disaster was about to strike for Cameraman Cals. We hit a run on the second day, and an innocuous turn took the man down, and he hit the deck like a Premier League footballer, putting his back out, which we unfortunately didn't manage to catch on camera. But trust me, it was a corker.
G'day, skiing.
It's weird how accidents happen on mountains. Sometimes you can hit the ground hard going at 1,000,000 miles an hour and have no injuries. Sometimes you can fall off a Val-d'Isere sign and dislocate your shoulder. By Thursday, we were pretty pooped and wondered what else there was to do on a mountain other than ski. Thankfully, the crew at Val-d'Isere Tourism had just the solution and hooked us up with 2 activities: fat e-biking and ice floating. While neither conjured up the most relaxing of images, we kept open minds. Stay tuned for our dedicated video on both of these unique experiences. Fair to say, the 3 of us were pleasantly surprised by the activities Chloe and Sophie had introduced to us, and it was a welcome break from the hectic nature of the slopes. We spent the next few days taking it easy on the mountain, but not so easy in the town. As the receipts began to pile up, I took some time to reflect on the experience, but stay tuned to see how much this all cost. Coming to a place like this, we decided it would be a good idea to get in contact with Val-d'Isere Tourism, and they gave us some brilliant tips on things to do, and they've just generally been very useful. So Chloe and Sophie and all the team there, thank you so much for all your help on this zero emission mission.
They even offered up the help of Cecile, who kindly shared some tips on how to make sustainable choices on your next ski trip, all of which we'd actually implemented ourselves.
You came from UK to Val-d'Isere in electric car, and I think it's great. I would like to applaud you, and I would like to have more people do this. A few tips to make your holidays more sustainable. Travel with an electric car or train, and you should maybe take buses and stop taking planes.
We came through the Eurotunnel, which meant that we didn't have to go on the ferry.
To stay in an apartment with other people, it would be to come with a group of people.
Lewis has only had one shower since we've been here. Two? Oh, was it two? Okay, sorry, he had 2 showers.
Be careful of what you're eating and what you're enjoying in the ski resort.
We also took the vegan option on the menu quite a lot of times.
You could even borrow your ski gear from a friend, so it would be good to reuse it.
We've borrowed a lot of gear, which has saved us having to buy new stuff.
A trip like this takes a lot of coordination, so it's inspiring to see the likes of VIP Ski, Val-d'Isere Tourism, Select Car Leasing and of course Polestar to be going the extra mile in order to operate in the most sustainable way possible. We salute you.
We were set various challenges by Select Car Leasing, including trying to convince a Frenchman to convert to an electric vehicle. Luckily, it was easier than we thought. Enter stage left, Philippe.
One big question, would you ever go back to petrol?
Never.
Excellent.
Everybody
Why
has
is
to go electric because look, we need more snow and the snow is lacking now and the weather is too warm. So everybody has to go to sustainable energy, no petrol, no fossil fuel anymore.
I think people need to realise that if we want to preserve our way of life, we need to take action yesterday, not tomorrow.
Yeah, the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
I guess when we find ourselves in an amazing place like this, a stunning, beautiful, scenic mountain resort, it makes you think about the planet that we live in. We've got to do our best to protect it at all costs. And Elon Musk and all those guys thinking about, oh, let's go and colonise Mars. What's the point? Let's just fix our own planet first. And if we're trying to preserve this way of life and being able to do cool things like that, we need to stop and we need to think and we need to plan ahead and just try and work out ways to reduce climate change and global warming.
Right, here comes the cost breakdown for driving versus flying with a family of 4. Pause now if you want to make notes. Excluding an arm and a leg on duty free, the obligatory big Toblerone and airline snacks, you're looking at around £1,300 for parking, flights and transfers return. Versus driving, excluding speeding tickets and fast food, but including Eurotunnel, charging and tolls, just under £500. What other destinations would you like us to explore next? Let us know in the comments and we'll investigate on your behalf. Remember to smash that subscribe button and share with any friends that like an adventure. See you next time.